Last week in Herr Sprint Series, we had a bottom burner of a Dash for Cash finale, and by one spot on the racetrack, Alexa Salzman barely edged out and unable to win the grand prize. Here tonight, we kick off the second half of the season, and we do it in style for the longest race of the season for the Herr Sprint Series, 50 laps on tap, a pit stop around lap 30, and we are just a couple days away until the Coca-Cola 600 in the World Cup Series, and it is part of Indy 250 Week here for Sprint Series 9 in America at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hello everyone, it is Nathan Sampson here, and welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, and this is going to be a fun one. Race 17 of the season, the Carolina 300, the longest Sprint Series race of the season. You can't even really call this one a Sprint Series race, because it's half of what the 600 will be in the World Cup Series this weekend, and it's going to be a fun one. Underneath the lights, going to see multi-crew racing, cars slipping and sliding all over the place, and of course, the one and only pit stop on a oval this season. We got Radovich back up in the booth for this one. Welcome to Sprint Series 9 in America at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Good evening.
Obviously, this is the longest race of the season, and this is race 17 to 31, halfway through the season now already, and it's still been all out saying in the row up to this point. But with this being the longest race of the season, with a pit stop around lap 30, what do these drivers have to do here tonight?
Well, basically, you get two sprint races. You get one before the pit stop, one after the pit stop. The first one, somewhat important, not that much. It's really the pit stops that's gonna... You want to have a good position when you enter the pit lane, be with help for when you come out, and so you get a little bit of drafting. But the first race is really the first 30 so laps before the pit stops, if we don't get a caution, will be about really just track position and not losing really the lead pack, which can be a concern at Charlotte. Sometimes it happens when you don't have a good car. But yes, I mean, it's very interesting. It's very long for these drivers, so maybe it can upset a little bit Alexander Rowe, and he hasn't been as dominant these last few weeks, I think.
Yeah, Alexander's still been decent, but he's not been as dominant during the Dash for Cash races as he was in the early part of the season. Still made it to the final four of the Dash for Cash, but basically did not show up last week and finished towards the back part of the field. Did not win the Dash for Cash, and his front lead suffered because of it, and we'll see what ends up happening here with that one. Matt Black is 4th in points. He is back, and that was his first race that he missed all season was last week at outside, but kind of like with Unable, he missed a race and he is still in title contention. So, for Matt Black and Unable, we're halfway through the season. You missed one race. You still have a good shot at the championship. What could be Matt Black's mindset, especially because he did not race last week, he has to come from the back to the front here tonight.
I mean, if Matt Black has one saving grace, it's that it's a very long race, and that it's not that hard to gain positions around Charlotte usually. Maybe it'll be a little bit different with these equal cars, but usually it's not that hard to gain places around Charlotte. So that's maybe his redemption arc. He's still in the battle though, so if he has a good race and Bibi Ruiz and Alexander Rowe have both a bad race, which doesn't seem extremely unlikely but could happen, then he can definitely be back up into this right after this. And he's not the only one that has missed a race. Aaron Abel missed a race, and he's fine. He's third.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. And you can even make the statement for Sam McMahon, missed 2 races, still 9th in points, and even Matthew Hall, 11th in points, has 3 wins and only 13 starts. So it's still early enough in the season that if you keep on racking up starts, you can maybe have a shot. But Alexander Lowe is still the point leader with an 18-point lead over BB Ruiz, and second Aiden Abel is in third, minus 38. Matt Black is in fourth, back in the field tonight, minus 39. And then Chase McClure is in fifth, minus 41. Jay Wimbledon is in sixth, minus 45. And then Hallie Anson Jr. is in seventh, minus 49. I tell you what, we would have a fantastic points battle if Alexander Lowe was not leading with the top 7 right there. Amanda Williams has kind of fallen off a little bit. He's 8 points, minus 57. Sammy Camilla is in 9th, minus 70. And then rounding out the top 10 is Carlson Miller, still having a quiet season, not really flashy, but still 10th in the point standings, minus 79 points back. And then here are the drivers for the longest race of the season here tonight on the pole. It's been a tough season for him, but Trey Smith is on the pole, and he had a great one last week outside, and he carried that over with the fast lap and on the pole here. And alongside him in the 52 is J.R. Wimbledon. Roll number 2 is the 39 of Aaron Abel and the 13 of Warren Smith. Roll number 3 is Dylan Sanleven and the 97 of Aaron Lutz. Roll number 4 is the 98 of Hallie Anderson Jr. and the 90 of Matthew Allen. Rounding out the top 10 of both of the Dracone Racing Enterprises cars, the 81 of Ollie Hitson and the number 3 of Alexander Lowe here tonight. And then the number 96 is Sam McMahon and the 82 of Carlson Miller. And then the number 56 of Campbell Mosh and the 93 of Joshua Neely. The 99 of Chase McClure and the 57 of BB Ruiz, second in the point standings. The 02 of Nathan Alchboy and the number 1 of Andrew Williams. The 05 of Zane Davidson and the 99 of Matt Black, who has returned after 1 week. The number 50 here tonight is Angel Oliveira. And for Angel Oliveira, this is, I believe, only his second start on the season here tonight. And the number 50 and the 64 is Chris Reynolds, who won at Omni Digital during the Dash for Cash. He made his 5th start. And then first start on the season for Tyler Salzman in the number 88 last week. Alexa Salzman won the Dash for Cash, and now Tyler Salzman is in 88. And how about this for a driver making his return? Josh Williamson and the number 87 shotgun on the field, and he could have a good shot as well as everyone here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Longest race of the season. Ladovit, who do you think will win the Carolina 300?
I need to play into the meme. Tyler Salzman will win. I think, he's starting at the back, can definitely come back. I'm not saying that because it's my car. No, but yes, I think he can definitely win this. He starts from the back. And from my experience, it takes about, and it's not the same version of Charlotte, obviously, but from my Charlotte, which is only what I know, it takes about 20 laps to do a full roundup of the field if somebody comes from the back up to the front in an equal rating series. So he'd be in a perfect position for the moment where pit stops happen. So I think he can definitely come back to the field, have a good pit stop, and then just lead until the end.
Well, we'll see. That might be a little bit of a challenge, starting 23rd, but it's on the inside lane. And we'll see on who ends up winning one of the longest races of the season. It's been a crazy month of May for the Herr Sprint Series. We rounded up the Dash for Cash, and now we are straight into a 17th of the season, halfway through the 2025 season. And it is the longest race as well. 50 laps on tap, the Carolina 300, and it will be the number 37 of Trey Smith and the 52 of J.A. Wilberton with green flag racing for race 17 on the season is Sprint Series 9 in America from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Great start for the 37, but even a better start for the 39. And Abel all over the back bumper of Trey Smith. I have to try not to get confused with Abel in the 37 because that's who he's been in for most of the season. But we're going to see some multi-hoop racing. These guys are going to try every which lane here tonight. And that was a little bit close right there with the 98 of Howard Anderson Jr. 3 right off turn 2. Could be the trouble spot. And here comes Stanley. Stanley even on the inside, 52 in the middle of the field, and it's gonna be crazy here early on. But Abel trying to make a big points game here tonight is out front at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And that's a very good start from that inside lane. A bit better than I expected. If you look at the front, it seems to have calmed down a little bit. Even if there's passing, at least it's a single line and maybe another driver overtaking by the outside. But they're 4 wide at the back. Wow,
Well,
that could have ended very badly.
BP Luis got into the outside wall in 1 and 2, and oh my goodness, look at the 90 Larson lane. Oh, and that's not gonna work. Around goes the 90 and the 99 and the 02 as well. Oh, they're still looking at the 90's upside down.
Ouch.
Matthew Hall, 3-time winner, is on his lid. And the longest slide ever. Oh!
And we had extracurricular activity, I think.
And Andrew Williams as well. And when I was saying that these guys were slipping and sliding, and BP Ruiz got into the outside wall the lap prior. The 90 tried Larson it and was doing a good job, but it got tied off for turn number 2, and an early caution here tonight. And I think that might be what we see here tonight. These guys are slipping and sliding. It's a warm evening here at Charlotte, and that's allowing these guys to slip and slide. Now this is going to be very interesting on fuel, because now instead of a 30 lap one, it might be a couple of laps later. Is anyone gonna try any strategy here? Looks like that's not gonna be the case. No one besides the cause of damage, and unfortunately one of them is Tyler Salzman, BP Ruiz. The 50 of Chase McClure, I don't see. That's not Chase McClure, that's Angel Rivera, my bad. But I don't see too much damage on the 50 machine, and very unfortunate start here, but I kind of saw that one coming. These guys slipping and sliding, and the first caution of the night on lap number 4.
I think it could be very interesting with those cars pitting right now. Those who don't have too much damage, that 50 and the 88. Could be interesting. They could gain quite a few places. They were already at the back, so they don't have a lot to lose. So they'll be to watch out on this restart, and hopefully it's gonna be a single file restart. They don't all go to that outside lane, because that sort of middle to outside is really where they're just sliding up the track, and that's where the danger is. And I mean, we saw when the wreck happened here, there was nobody to the inside. It was just 3 guys that all slid from that sort of middle to the wall, and yeah. But we'll have more analysis for that in a second, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna take a look at what happened during the first caution. Slipping and sliding here tonight at Charlotte. Let's see what happened for the first caution of the night in the Carolina 300. Well, on a hot and split racetrack, I guess this is what happens. First caution of the night, and these guys were sliding. The 90 of Matthew Hall, the 56 of Campbell Motion, the 99 of Chase McClure. They all kind of squeeze off a turn number 2. The 56 gets sideways into the 99, and then the 99 and the 90 both get pinched together. The 97 gets a tap right there. The 02 is going to hit the 90 when the 90 spins, and the tap right there. And then the 50, nowhere to go but into his teammate, and really this wouldn't be that bad if the 90 didn't quote unquote save it. And then back into the 88, 88 hits the 1, they all stack them up, and we have a NR type flip. And the 90 of Matthew Hall is going to go for quite possibly one of the longest slides I've seen here on NR. From turn 3 all the way to the middle of turn 4. And that was it for this one. Of course, we did have something else happen that we will take a look here in a second. But that was it. A fairly simple crash, a simple NR flip. And the 90 of Matthew Hall is just going to slide down the racetrack. And not going to be out somehow, but it's going to be a lap down here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
So here you see they just forget that there's an inside lane, or I don't quite know what that was. I think it's the 56. It just didn't have any grip, stood way too high. That's really what it was, already tight, and then calamities happened, and 90 flips, and then there is a second accident because the one of Andrew Williams tried to go to the pit lane, and the 50 of Oliveira said no. Thus, a spin. Luckily, there was no one behind to head the one, because that would have been a massive hit. Only one car is retired from that accident, but a few cars will be very far off the pace. Hopefully, it's the only caution of the day, because that if that caution, that type of caution happens again, it'll be a long night here.
Hopefully that's the only caution. Definitely a slippery night here at Charlotte. But Dylan Steele, even early on, seems to be one of the cars to beat. And we'll see what happens on the first and hopefully only restart of the night here for the Carolina 300. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, and well, how about that for a opening handful of laps here for the Carolina 300? Oh, well, we might see a lot more of that. It is a one night here at Charlotte, and we'll see what ends up happening for the rest of this one. BP Ruiz, second points, is out of this one. Had a lot of damage, and that's not going to be good for the point standings. And then the one of Andrew Williams and the 90 of Matthew Hall, who flipped, was sliding, but is still going to continue on here. But is a lap down. Dylan Stanley even is in the lead. The 98 of Halley Anson Jr. in second, Aaron April in third, Warren Smith in fourth. The 96 of Sim McMahon in fifth. The 52 of J.O. Littleton in sixth. The 37 of Toy Smith in seventh. And then the 81 of Ollie Hitson. The 99 of Tracy McClure. And the 97 of Aaron Lucy. Looks like he might have been involved in that crash and has a hood buckle. I think he was involved, so we'll see what ends up happening. Nobody pit besides the couple cars in the back damage, so should be around lap 30 to 32 for these guys still in the restart zone. Dylan Steele even with a decent restart, but Halley Anson Jr. with an even better one off of the restart. Great one down the back stretch, and oh my goodness gracious, ton of movement. Might go 3 wide for second, not quite. But Halley Anson Jr. going to go side by side for the race lead. Tracy Smith in the 37 going to go 3 wide. Here comes Sammy Kamara, was one spot, well not was one spot short, but was in the dash for cash and didn't quite get the job done. Let's look at the 13 of Warren Smith whipping the wall. And Sammy Kamara trying to take the race lead away from the 98. But Halley Anson Jr. is going to take it on lap number 10.
And for Anderson Jr., I mean, they're one of the pretenders, I guess, the title's not really contending at the moment, but they could be very soon. 7th in point and only 40-something points back. So finishing well here today could be very important, especially if Rowe is mired at the back. Well, that's not gonna help that. They just crashed the wall there. But yes, they're one of the pretenders to that title. So having a good race. Oh my goodness, the 39 almost ran into them. Okay, yes, they're just completely sliding here. All right, so yes, for these pretenders, you know, from 3rd to 7th. it's really important to have a good result here today because both of the two
Oh,
championship contenders at the moment. Oh, and they almost wrecked at the back. That was I don't know what car that was.
that was the 99, 87, and the 69 back there. Josh Benson about to turn the 99, and Matt Black got a door slam. Welcome back to the series, Matt Black, after a week off, and welcome back, Josh Benson about took out one of the contenders in the title, and it's going to be interesting of how this all plays out. Sam Camaro doing a good job out front here at Charlotte, and they are still racing fairly hard throughout the field.
Every lap, there's about one person that's very close to losing his car or her car. So, it's. I mean, I don't think we're staying green until the end of this. So, if we get a caution right now, the question is, can they pit and hope there's a few cautions afterwards and just held on until the end of this race? Right now, that's what I'd be thinking about if I was on one of those pit walls. But yeah, if I'm one of these drivers, just stay as close to the inside as possible, because when you get anywhere near that middle lane, you just slide right out to the outside and easily can go hit the wall, and if you hit the wall, you're done.
Absolutely, and we're seeing a little bit of the multi-crew action that I was talking about now that these guys are singling out and splitting out. The 96 of Camaro's running about a lane to lane and a half higher than what this 37 of Trey Smith is doing. And Trey Smith almost won last week at Hillside and still got a pretty reasonable result, I believe. And maybe something is turning for that 37 here, and especially for Trey Smith. Here comes the 52 of Jay Rippleton to the inside of Ollie Hitson. Warren Smith and Chris Reynolds, he won at Armory Digital, and he's trying to get another win here in the Sprint Series, and Carson Miller made some moves. And Alexander Rowe just outside the top 10. He has 10 top 10s in 16 races, and Abel also has 10 top 10s. Right now is Abel barely inside the top 10, the last one in. And actually, I stand corrected, Alexander Rowe is in the top 10 now. And it's going to be interesting of how this all plays out. Looks like the 37 is dropping back on these old tires. It's going to be a lot of tire with about 2 seconds of fall off as well, and on a very slippery racetrack. A little bit of contact in the back between the 93, the 3, and the 4. Crazy stuff all the way here at Charlotte, and we're not even halfway through the Carolina 300 here. We might see lap traffic, and we definitely will. The 1, the 50 are very, very off the pace here.
And if they're catching them in about, 10 laps since we've gone green again, that could play a major factor because they won't just catch them once. So now they need to be very careful. Don't try to overtake, but around the outside. You'll probably lose the race lead if you do that for the 96. And yeah, the 52 just there got completely blocked. The 91 trying to overtake by the 81. Pardon me, trying to overtake by the outside. Oh, and there you go. And that's the danger here. That's the danger. Just getting into contact with them, and yeah, that's how you lose a bunch of places. At least it'll stretch the field out a little bit, hopefully. So that means there's less chances at a caution, as we have a move for the lead. The 37 of Trey Smith goes into first position.
And we're under caution. I have a feeling they might have let with a lap car, probably. Gonna go side by side. A aggressive slide job for Trey Smith. And he's gonna win the race back to the line, and this is gonna be very interesting, as it's gonna be 30 laps to go, and they might be able to make it from here. And looks like it's the A1.
With the laps under caution, I don't think there was gonna be that much trouble.
Oh no!
Is that a second wreck?
I believe so.
Was that the wreck?
I think the A1 wrecked it the first time, and then something happened between the 1 and the 3. So
yeah, the 81 was very foul to the outside. It wouldn't surprise me if it bounced back the wall and hit the car or something.
Well then, slippery racetrack, and another caution, and another one where we have 2 wets in the same caution, and now pit crews get ready, because they're going to pit and they should be able to make it for the rest of the night, barely. But they're going to have to do basically a full fuel one here. And it's going to be very interesting. Tony Smith won the race back to the line. And it's going to be the first one to lead everyone onto pit road. A chaotic start, and you know, we went caution free in all 3 Dash for Cash races, and well, we're making up for that here tonight with 2 of them already. And let's see what the pit crews can do here on pit road. Give me a 4-tire stop for everybody. Everyone on pit road.
Those people who had damage and pitted that first caution will probably be able to take a little bit less fuel. That should be interesting.
A slow stop for the 39 of Enable. And looks like everyone is going to be good. If the 50 is staying down, and obviously these 2 have damage. They went into 3, so. Why night here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and looks like we just saw the skimmers in 1 and 2, so that might have been where they went. Good pit stop from Matt Black on the 69 machine, and we'll see what ends up happening. Let's go ahead and see if what happened for the second caution of the night, with the 37 of Trey Smith leading here at Charlotte. Well, here we go. This happened. A simple wreck here. We caught up to the 50, and then the 81 of Hitson tried to get inside. Abel said no. These drivers being very aggressive here tonight, and Abel ends up taking out the 81 and the 50, but the 50 saves it. The 81 of Hitson does not, and that's going to send the 81 around, and everyone's going to miss Hitson. And that's going to be it for this one. But it's not done. Just like the first caution of the night, we also had a second incident here. And it involves the number 1 of Andrew Williams. Once again, wants to forget about Charlotte. Here in 3 and 4, racing back to the line. The 64 of Chris Reynolds gets into the corner panel. And this is when things get fairly sketchy. Carlos Miller into the side of the 1 of Andrew Williams. They go down the racetrack. The 99 also involved again. And this is going to be a huge hit for Andrew Williams here. Alexander trying to get on the outside. He barely gets clipped. A little bit of damage and a big hit on the outside wall for the front end. And another minor crash to what it could have been. But that's going to take out Andrew Williams finally here tonight. And a tough night for him. Alexander, with fairly minor damage, should be able to continue on and maybe even get another good one out of it, because I don't see a lot of damage on that 3 at all. But second caution and another 2-parter here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Well, lap car shenanigans. The 50 just blocks the way of the 81, and just there's no space. Can't do anything. Luckily, everyone else avoids it. So it's only a 2-car wreck, and even the second car was able to continue here. Well, everyone was able to continue with, yeah, wasn't too big of damage for anyone. And then the second wreck here was a massive shunt for the 1. Just loses it completely here. Gets clipped and loses it. What a bad night from Andrew Williams. Maybe for the championship contenders, they can catch back after Alexander Rowe just is involved in that one, unfortunately. The 50 was a menace today. A lot of wrecks it was involved in, and second caution of the night, and it's gonna be that's the caution where they pitted, right?
Yep, this was the caution that everyone pitted, and Trey Smith won the race off pit road, and these guys should be able to make it on field from here, and we'll see what ends up happening in the second half of the Carolina 300. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, and if you could believe me, we are only almost halfway through the Carolina 300, and this is acting like the World Cup Series 600-mile race here later this weekend. And It's been chaotic to say the least with the lap calls on that second caution, and these guys being fairly slight here tonight is causing some fantastic racing, but also some cautions that we did not see during the Dash for Cash races. The number one, I think Andrew Williams, is finally out after being involved in a second crash of the night. And after pit stops, these guys should be able to make it from here. And it is Trey Smith, J.L. Rippleton, Hallie Anderson Jr., Warren Smith, Sammy Camara, Joshua Neely, Matt Blatt, Dylan Stanley, Chris Reynolds, and Carlson Miller the top 10, and Josh Williamson just outside the top 10 in the 11th. And then, obviously, the 3 of Alexander Rowe was involved in one of the crashes during the second caution of the night, and he's now outside of the top 10. Gonna restart with 26 laps to go. We'll see if that's the last caution of the night, or if we have another one. Another good restart for Trey Smith, but another good restart for the second place driver as well. This time of J.L. Rippleton all over the back bumper on the restart. And we'll see what happens here this time. And this might be a good bow off turn number 2 here between the 52 and the 37. And here we go, Rippleton to the inside.
I think it's more a terrible start from that 98. Anderson Jr. just not get going here at the line. I'm surprised there weren't more cars going to the inside there. But already a lead change, and yeah, that's what happens at a speedway usually. Oh, but there you go. There you need to be careful because that 98 slipped up trying to overtake the 37, and now that gives an opportunity to the 13. And that's what we've seen all race. Just people trying to overtake and then trying to outbrake the opponent and outbraking themselves really. And yeah, that's how you lose positions, and that's how you end up with wrecks here.
How about Trey Smith, one in the outside lane in 3 and 4, got past the 13 and the 98 for a moment. Now Warren Smith back on the inside, and that's kind of what we are seeing is a warm night, like I said, and these guys are trying all over the place on this 1.5 mile track to find the speed. But how about Warren Smith? He's won some races here, won some races there, but he is back, and he might get a good one here tonight. Trey Smith back on the inside. He tasted the win last week, but didn't quite get the job done. Really wants to here tonight as they are almost 4 wide again in the back of the field. That's Chris Mills almost getting turned by the 93. That was very tight back there. 37 slides up. Here comes the 4 of Dylan Stanley, even back to the inside.
They need to be very careful because if they continue going 3 wide like that, at some point all 3 of them will just outshoot the corner, and that was basically what happened in the first track. I'm pretty sure. We didn't see the replay yet for us, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened there. We already have now. They need to sort this out before the lap car happens because and that was a big dive from the 64. If the lap cars come and they're 3 wide, there's basically no chance at survival around this racetrack. So they need to be getting this out of their system right now, so that when a lap car comes in about probably 5 laps from now, they're going 3 wide for the lead. Well, sure, do it now, I guess. Just don't do it in a couple of laps, and be careful out there.
How about Josh Williamson? We started 11th on the restart, and now he's up to 2nd. How about this one, Josh Williamson?
Well, that's profiting from everybody going to 3 wide in the top 10. That's how you get there. That's a really good jump from Williamson to not get involved in those drivers just shooting to the outside lane. Yes, I mean right now. There you go. Now it's single file lot. Now it should be calmer for a moment. I'm surprised there's nobody really trying to save fuel. They're really pushing the cars right now. They're not trying to save anything. Sure, we've passed the 30 lap mark, so they should be able to stay good with if they push around a bunch, they can burn up a lap or 2 of fuel. So They need to be very careful out there.
Yeah, they put it on lap 31, lap 21, and they should be able to make it. So it's gonna be close on fuel, but they should be able to make it. And you mentioned lap calls, well, we're catching up to the 50 already, and the 90's not too far off the pace. So we really just have to worry about the 50 machine here, as the 52 on the inside, Josh Williamson, but Williamson's gonna run the high side. And gonna keep the race lead. Fantastic racing here tonight at Charlotte. And Warren Smith is still out front for now, but he's gonna catch up to the 50 at a bad time. Angel failure. That's gonna hold up to 13. Williamson is gonna catch up, and so will everyone else.
Wow, it's almost as if the spotter didn't warn Smith that the lap car was coming. He went straight to his sort of middle lane, but you can't overtake a car when you're that wide in the corner. So that was just a terrible timing and terrible entry into the corner for the 13, and that almost cost him the race lead. It's a good chance that he was able to really defend well there.
And right now, that 13 for the Titan Fury Racing stable is looking very strong here tonight, and so is this 37. This might be one of the best cars all season. Doesn't matter who's driving it, but Herr Motorsports has done a fantastic job. And how about Chris Reynolds? He won at Alloy Digital to kick off the Dash for Cash for the team. Same wide, he's back and he's inside the top 3 now. Hallie Anderson Jr. inside the top 5, and then a battle for 5th for the final spot inside the top 5 with Josh Williamson in the 87. And how about this, the 56 of Campbell Mosh was at top 5 in the point standings at one point, but now, as things stand entering tonight, is not even inside the top 10 in points anymore. So this is a much needed night for Campbell Mosh, and we'll see what ends up happening. But we have less than 15 laps to go in a crazy Carolina 300.
Yeah, motorsports is often a question of momentum, so when you get a bunch of bad races, you just get a bad mood and then you drive worse. So maybe that can restart his season. It's a bit late race 16, but you know, if there's a massive run for that driver, they can definitely go back. And ooh, that was very wide into the corner. That won't work. That won't work when you just drive from that far away.
Yeah, I don't know what Consumer's trying to do. I guess try doing some kind of slide job. But that was way far back to do a slide job and lost all of his momentum. And now he's going to get freight trained by the 56, 98, 52, and 87. And how about Twilight Racing? They're making a splash here with not only the 02 of Adjaboye, but also with the 05 of Davidson trying to Wilson Lane. And also, he was involved in the second caution. I believe the second wreck, and he's now back inside the top 10 still, so trying to get another top 10, even with a little bit of damage on that number 3 machine. Josh Williamson back to the inside, trying to take the 5th spot away from Chris Reynolds. 11 laps to go, things are definitely calming down. Tyler is taking into effect. This is the longest one of the night now, and if these guys make it, it'll be basically a full fuel one. A great one off turn 2 and side by side once again. Trey Smith and Warren Smith.
And it seems like the inside lane's starting to get a little bit harder to work on. For the moment, it still seems like it's the preferred lane, but it wouldn't surprise me if in 5 laps the outside lane becomes really dominant. And look at that, even there, the 13 was able to almost complete the defense there. We won't be able. But it's the tires are starting to die out here. It's I mean we're approaching. Well, now there's 20 laps at the end of this lap with those tires, and that's very bad. It's probably about a second and a half of fall off, I'd imagine at this point. So yes, fuel won't be an issue today. Tires might be.
Yeah, we got about 2 seconds of fall off at the end of a 30 lap one, so I want to say you are probably right with about a second and a half of fall off right now, and that is indeed the case. It's about 1.3 to 1.5 seconds of fall off. A slide job from the 56 of Campbell Mosh, And now the 37's gonna go wide. Howling Anderson Jr. is in the midst as well. This is crazy stuff, and I don't think this is how the World Cup Series race will be. Like, I don't think it's gonna be as slippery, but a fantastic race to slide shot from Howling Anderson Jr. And that's gonna put the 37 into the outside wall with a dirty air effect. And Trace of his bad season is gonna continue after a fantastic one here tonight.
Man, that's tough. That's tough. If they're doing that here and they're still about a little bit less than 10 laps to go now, man, I can't imagine how bad it'll be at the end of this race. The tires are they're already pretty much dead. And that wouldn't have happened 10 laps ago. Maybe he would have hit the wall, but he would have been able to recover pretty quickly. That's the sliding just gets so much worse when those tires start to die. And at this point, look at that. They were almost unable to just keep it straight around here. It's almost as if there's something on the racetrack that's making them lose grip. It's very, very bad out there, the grip.
It's the heat. That's what it is. It's a hot night here at Charlotte. You guys won't see at the end. And there goes the night 3 and the night 6. And
Does
down
anyone
stand
pit?
even. Well,
if I was at the back of the field right now, I'd 100% pit and try to gain places.
we should be able to have a late race restart. And, well, we have made up for it. 3 cautions. We went caution free in all 3 of the Dash for Cash races the last 3 weeks. And we have made up for it here tonight on a hot and split race travel. I was trying to say that you guys won't see at the end, but from what we see, it is an 80-degree temperature here tonight. So, it is a hot and split racetrack, and that is probably why these guys are sliding like crazy. And I don't think these guys will pit. They should be able to make on fuel. But if someone can't, then they might have to go down onto pit road just to make sure. But that's the bait for Sammy Camara. And the 9-3 of Joshua Neely, nowhere to go. But he's actually going to stay out. Doesn't look like there's that much damage. But the 96 is destroyed. And all the way to the garage, it looks like. And that is another retiree. 3 cautions. And 3 retirees here tonight. And we're going to set it up for possibly a 2 or 3 lap shootout here in the Carolina 300. Third cautioner of the night, and this is all on Joshua Neely. Slides way up the racetrack in 1 and 2. Sends Sammy Camara up the racetrack into Josh Williamson a little bit, but Williamson's going to be fine. It's all going to be the 93 and the 96 getting into it here. A close call for the 87 though. And this ends up being a big hit for the 96. Hard into that inside wall. The 4 and the 93 also get a little bit of damage. Tough play for Dylan Stanley, even who was strong in the first half. And a tough play for the 96, who was also running strong here tonight. But that's just how this racetrack's been. Been a very slippery one here. And another 2 or 3 car incident. And we'll see if what ends up happening later on the restart. It will be a 2-lap pretty much record, by the way. So, if you will get that racing, let's go ahead and take another look at it and get to the restart here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Well, here is an accident of all time. Everyone was on that tire, so everyone was getting loose at the outside of the turn 2 here. So they were just a little bit too tight for that late into the race, that year into the tire run. So yes, that's a wreck that could have been avoided by Neely, but wasn't. Well, we should get a fun open parentheses overtime close parentheses, actually quotation marks, not not parentheses, but yeah, we should get a fun quasi overtime. Should be able to make it on fuel. Tires will be completely dead. So we'll see what happens. It's if this 13 is able to keep that pretty dominating run they had going for them.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. Gonna be a 2-lap old-fashioned green light checkered, and if there's anything that we're seeing here tonight, it is not over until this final 2-lap sprint to the finish is over. Can Warren Smith get the win for Titan Fury? Let's find out right now with the late race restart at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Carolina 300. Welcome back to the sprint series here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 96 of Sammy Commander is out and in the garage, and we are going to have a little bit of a old-fashioned green-white checkered here tonight in the Herr Sprint Series. Still in regulation, obviously we don't do overtime, but this is old-fashioned overtime. 2-lap shootout, and Warren Smith has been the dominant driver in the second half of this race. But if he wants to get, I believe, his first win on the season here tonight, he needs to hold off guys like the 56 of Campbell Most trying to rebound after a slump as of late, the 52 of J.L. Littleton, the 64 of Chris Mills trying to get second win in 4 races, Helen Anderson Jr. trying to get win number 1 finally on the year. Trey Smith has a chance at a win, and then you cannot count Alexander Rowe, 7th on the restart, trying to maintain a 11 top 10 and maybe win number 5. This is all going to come down to the restart. A green light checker here at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Carolina 300. A good restart for the 13, but a even better one for everyone behind them.
And there we go. They have a very good restart. That's surprisingly calm. But there you go. Now they're gonna go 2 wide, 3 wide maybe, and watch as they slide to the corner. They're trying to gain speed. And if you go to the outside, now it's done. Oh no! Penalties.
I think people cannot make it on fuel. They should have been able to, but they're not going to. I don't know what's happened, but that's a lot of people that were not able to make it on fuel there. And I'm surprised because they had so many caution laps to save all the fuel. But Warren Smith, a dominating second half in the Carolina 300. It's going to X off turn number 4. And he will make it on fuel just like majority of the field will. And Warren Smith will win a Carolina 300.
When they went side by side for second place, that's when it was over. Because when you're trying to gain, because the tires are so that it takes multiple laps to just gain speed on a restart, and when you slide off, and when you go side by side that late in the race, they just all slide off. But there's no avoiding it. So when they went side by side for second with 1 lap to go, it was over. Good job for the 13. That. I don't know if it was fuel window or if it was penalties, but
There's
that
a
was
lot of cars.
That was a lot of cars with penalties. I agree. I don't know what happened there, but that could have ended in a wreck, and luckily it didn't, because that would have been disappointing. But it's a good one for the 13, and yeah. Well, a lot of cars finished a lap down, unfortunately, including a 37 had a really good race, but hey, that's what happens. Alexander Rowe finishes 12th, even though all of that happened, so the points gap won't be reduced that much.
Yeah, not too bad for him, and I don't know what happened there. I believe they pitted around lap 21, and with the caution laps, that should have been enough for him to make it. And for some reason they didn't. I guess it was too tight on fuel for about half the fuel that was remaining. So, it is what it is. Sometimes, it surprises me. And that it definitely did right there. But at least we can say that the dominant driver in the second half of this race of Warren Smith was able to still hang on to get the race win. J.L. Littleton in second, Campbell Marsh finally some good momentum in third. Hallie Anderson Jr. might be a contender with a good points won here. And how about Josh Williamson, a top 5 here tonight? And Tyler Selspin was involved in the first caution of the night and is in the 6th position after everyone pitted. Dylan Stanley even in 7th, and Luce in 8th, Ollie Hitson in 9th, and then Aaron Abel in 10th, I guess. When he crossed the line, he just decided to puck it. Chris Mills and Alexander Moe last to close on the lead lap after they went down pit road. And then all these guys, for the most part, besides the 50 and the 90, they all went down pit road and they were a lap down. Trey Smith, Nathan Alchboy, Carson Miller, Zane Davidson, Chase McClure, Joshua Neely, and Matt Black. And I don't know what else to really say. That was chaotic. It was a very fun race when it was green, with all the slipping and sliding, but a little bit puzzled on why half the field pitted, but nevertheless, dominant driver of the second half won, and Warren Smith gets the win here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
I think the 39, 64, and 3 also pitted at the end on the. So I think it's a fuel. People just ran out of fuel. Well, I mean, at least most of the contenders, with the exception of the 64 and the 37, were able to finish. But yes, it was a very good one. Don't expect this. Is it tomorrow, the cup race? I don't quite remember. Even though we're live, I don't quite remember. No. But yes, it's it was an interesting one. I don't think we're gonna see anything like this again at Charlotte, even in the sprint series, because that was an extreme example of just sliding all over the racetrack. But it was entertaining. I enjoyed this race. I think people enjoy it too. It was fun. Great battle for the race lead. Even though the 13 was up front as much, the 37 was basically as much up front as the 13, and they switched the race lead a few times. So yes, it was a good one.
Absolutely. Even with the wacky finish, it was a lot of fun with the slipping and sliding, with the slippery track and the heat. Don't think we will see anything like this in the World Cup Series race here on, I believe, Friday night. But we'll see if what ends up happening over there. Congratulations to Warren Smith on the race win. Sign-ups for, I believe, Nashville Fairgrounds next week happen right now. That one, Caleb Rose will do that one, since I'll be kind of busy, preoccupied this weekend. So I'm sure that one will be a fun one over there for some short track racing for race 18 on the season. And we'll see what happens. Congratulations to Tyson Fury and Warren Smith on the win. And we will see you guys for the rest of Indy 250 week here on AG the channel.